ABBA, the iconic Swedish supergroup that swept the world with their infectious tunes and unforgettable melodies. ABBA wasn't just a band. They symbolized unity, love, and success. Their music represented a golden era, a time when dreams became reality and love conquered all. But as their fame grew, so did enormous tensions in their personal lives. Behind the scenes of their fame, a storm was raging. Today, Agnetha Fältskog finally reveals the shocking truth. Sweden in the swinging 60s, a hotspot for pop music where the local scene was bursting with talent. Before ABBA became the global sensation we know today, each member was already making waves in the Swedish music charts. Benny Andersson, for instance, was part of the Hepstars, dubbed the Swedish Beatles. Yes, you heard that right. They were a big deal with 20 top 20 hits and 9 chart toppers. Benny's path crossed with Björn Ulvaeus during a gig where the Hepstars and Björn's band, the Hootenanny Singers, shared the stage. Talk about fate, right? This meeting sparked a songwriting partnership that would change the course of pop music history. But as they say, all good things must come to an end. The Hepstars faced their downfall while trying to shoot a movie in the style of the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. Financial woes and creative differences pulled the band apart. But as one door closed, another opened for Benny. During the band's final days, Benny met Annifrid Frida Lingstad, a talented pop and jazz singer who had just clinched a Swedish national talent competition and a recording contract in 1967. Love and music mixed as Benny went on to produce Frida's debut solo album in 1971. The album featured the smash hit Min Egen Stad, which brought together Benny, Björn, and Björn's wife Agnetha Fältskog on backing vocals. Speaking of Agnetha, did you know she was already a star in her own right? By 1968, she had a chart-topping self-titled solo album and a hit single, I Was So in Love. Now, let's fast forward to how ABBA went from national stars to global icons. It all began with a catchy tune by Benny and Björn titled People Need Love. With Frida and Agnetha adding their enchanting backing vocals, the song was a hit, sparking a pivotal moment in their careers. Thanks to the buzz from People Need Love, they were invited to participate in the Swedish qualifiers for the Eurovision Song Contest. For those who might not know, Eurovision is this massive annual singing extravaganza where European countries compete with often flamboyant performances. And if you've seen the Netflix parody Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, you've got a taste of its unique charm. Despite ABBA's later fame, did you know their first Eurovision attempt in 1973 didn't exactly go as planned? They entered under their names Björn, Benny, Agnetha, and Frida, and ended up in third place with the song Ring Ring. Not ones to give up, they came back in 1974, rebranded as ABBA, an acronym of their first names. This time, with the infectious track Waterloo, they didn't just win the Swedish competition. They took the Eurovision crown for Sweden, marking the first time a Swedish act won the contest. Waterloo didn't just win, it became legendary. At Eurovision's 50th anniversary, the song was voted the best in the contest's history. Can you believe ABBA almost fizzled out as one-hit wonders? After taking the world by storm with Waterloo, they faced a slew of singles and albums that just didn't hit the mark. Ring Ring, a song they hoped would catch on in the UK, was pretty much brushed off. Björn later admitted in The Guardian that they were dabbling in a semi-glam rock style, trying to mimic bands like The Sweet. But let's be real, ABBA's heart always beats strongest in pop. Their 1974-75 European tour had its rough patches, with sparse crowds and canceled shows across major cities like London and Paris. They even had to call off gigs in Switzerland due to low ticket sales. That must have been a tough pill to swallow. However, in the summer of 1975, ABBA went back to basics. They returned to the small Swedish folk parks they knew and loved, reconnecting with their roots. Around the same time, they dropped their third album, aptly named ABBA, which blasted them back into international fame with hits like SOS and Mamma Mia. Particularly in Australia, Mamma Mia topped the charts for 10 whole weeks. By the year's end, they had enough chart toppers to roll out a greatest hits album which introduced Fernando, a track that not only conquered charts in 13 countries, but also became Australia's best-selling single of all time. 1976 was the year they solidified their place in pop royalty with their fourth album, Arrival. Simon Goddard, in his review for Pitchfork, remarked how they finally looked like the superstars they were, especially on the LP cover with its iconic helicopter shot. And who could forget Dancing Queen? Released from this album, it became their only U.S. #1 hit. Frida even confessed in a 2016 interview with The Guardian that the song moved her to tears just from the backing vocals, calling it absolutely the best song ABBA have ever done. By 1977, ABBA was unstoppable. They embarked on a major tour through Europe and Australia, drawing crowds of 100,000 and 150,000 respectively. During this whirlwind, they filmed ABBA, the movie, a quirky mix of concert footage, staged candid scenes, and public interviews, almost a prelude to today's reality TV shows. Did you know that in 1978, Benny and Björn from ABBA transformed an old movie theater into the legendary Polar Music Studio in Stockholm? This place wasn't just any studio. It hosted the recording of Led Zeppelin's In Through the Outdoor, and even artists like the Beastie Boys. Celine Dion and the Ramones laid down tracks there, until it closed in 2004. Talk about a historic hotspot. But 1978 wasn't just about business for ABBA. It was also the year Benny and Frida tied the knot, which must have been quite the celebration. However, things took a turn when Agnetha and Björn announced their divorce in early 1979. Can you imagine? Yet, despite their personal setbacks, ABBA kept making music that balanced upbeat tunes with deeply emotional lyrics. Ever heard If It Wasn't for the Nights? It's a disco tune, but the lyrics are steeped in despair. Björn even admitted these songs reflected some of his own tough times during the split. Fast forward to 1980, and ABBA performed their last tour with sold-out shows in Japan, including 6 nights at the iconic Budokan Arena. That year, they also released The Winner Takes It All, an anthem that many think was inspired by Björn and Agnetha's divorce. Although Björn insists it was just fiction, Agnetha revealed in a Daily Mail interview that the song was deeply personal for her, written around the time of their separation. Isn't it just fascinating how music can capture such raw, personal moments? Then came Super Trooper in November 1980. This album marked ABBA's return to their pop rock roots, stepping away from the disco vibes. It was like they were reminding us all why we fell in love with them in the first place. Around this time, Benny and Björn teamed up with lyricist Tim Rice for a new project, Chess. This musical was based on a love triangle amid a Cold War-era chess tournament, showing just how versatile these guys were. Although the musical had mixed success, the concept album featured the hit One Night in Bangkok. But a word of caution if you're thinking of belting this one out at karaoke. The lyrics might feel a bit out of step with today's world. While ABBA took a break, both Agnetha and Frida pursued solo careers. Agnetha took some personal time after releasing 3 albums, focusing on her interests away from the spotlight until her 2004 comeback. Frida, on the other hand, teamed up with Phil Collins for her album Something Going On in 1982, which was a commercial success, and later she even became a princess through marriage. In 2016, all 4 members of ABBA had a nostalgic reunion at Mamma Mia, the party in Stockholm, followed by a heartwarming performance in June. Then, in October 2016, they announced a groundbreaking project, creating lifelike avatars called Avatars. Things were buzzing with excitement. In 2018, ABBA dropped a bombshell. 2 new songs were on the way, But hold your horses, it wasn't until 2021 that the world finally heard their long-awaited singles, I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down. The music video for the former had everyone reaching for tissues and reminiscing about the good old days. 2021 was a game-changer. Abba Voyage was unveiled, alongside a concert residency featuring digital avatars and a live band. This grand finale was marked with the release of their first album in 40 years, Voyage. But wait, did you catch the hint that this might not be their final bow after all? Fast forward to May 2022, and Abba Voyage premiered, leaving fans in awe. Yet it was bittersweet news when Benny Andersson hinted that this could be the end of the road for ABBA'S group collaborations. And in April 2023, the passing of longtime guitarist Lasse Wellander cast a somber shadow over the ABBA legacy. In March 2024, ABBA received a prestigious honor from the King of Sweden, marking a monumental milestone in their journey. Who could have imagined this roller coaster ride spanning decades? So what's your favorite ABBA memory from the recent years? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's celebrate the timeless magic of ABBA together.